真空
What's going on, people? System Cycle here with my boy Josh.
What's up?
If y'all didn't know, Batman vs Superman just recently came out, and there's been a lot of talk on this movie. You know, whether it was good, bad. People have a lot of opinions on this thing. So me and Josh actually went to go and see it. So what we wanted to do is actually just kind of discuss what we thought about it, positives, negatives, and our overall thought on the movie. And I guess the question I want to throw out to start this whole discussion is basically, is Batman vs Superman really that bad? What do you think, man? Do you think it's as bad as critics say it is?
No, it's not as bad as critics say it is. I mean, let's put it in perspective. The thing got a 29%.
That's really bad.
29%. You talk about like movies like I saw like a meme that even had like the split where Paul Blart Mall Cop has a higher rating. It's like seriously, that's ridiculous. You know.
Yeah.
In all honesty, like, it's funny because you see all the commentary, and I think it's kind of funny that the critics bashed it, and I don't really know what the critics were expecting to see out of this.
Yeah.
Like, for me, you got a superhero movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I really feel like they did deliver in the aspect of giving you a superhero movie. Where I think that it's interesting in the whole dialogue of this whole thing is that you have people that are Marvel fanboys that are like bashing it and like going along with the critics and saying that it's as bad as the critics are making it sound.
Okay.
But then you got the DC fanboys that are like, they're delusional because they're trying to act like it's like the greatest like comic movie that they've ever seen. You know, and it's like, and for me, I feel like it's somewhere in the middle.
I kind of agree with that.
You know,
I definitely agree with
there's
that.
a lot of inconsistencies, man. A lot of inconsistencies in the movie. I mean, you know, there's a lot to talk about. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, so we can start on the positives. Like, what did we like about this movie? So what are some of the first things you thought like were really good about this whole film?
In the first hour of the movie, right?
Okay.
The first hour of the movie, I felt like, you know, a lot of people complain because they feel like it jumps around.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I think that it lost that appeal towards the parts where you were going to have like Superman and Batman meet off the fight.
Okay.
But leading into that, I felt like it was kind of like watching a comic book.
Okay.
Each scene to me was kind of like watching a frame in a comic book.
So I kind of felt the same way too. I felt like every scene, in a way, the way I explained it was, I kind of felt like it was its own movie. Like each scene had its own distinct look, and it did feel like you could tell that the director Zack Snyder like took the time to like really see exactly what angles he wanted to put, how they wanted to do everything, and how each scene looked. You know?
Yeah, it was kind of like seeing it in its own panel. Like each scene was its own panel, and I thought that was really good.
And it looked really good.
Yeah,
like, production is real good.
It did. It really did.
Good,
the special effects. There weren't too many times that I looked at the special effects and were like, "What the fuck just happened?" You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of times I was like, "Wow, that looks really good." You know, and I thought that was interesting. I thought like the storytelling aspect of it, like I can see why people didn't like it because it is kind of jumpy a little bit. Like, you know, you're like in one part and then you move on to the other and stuff like that. But I feel like for the reason of having Batman versus Superman, especially in the beginning when you see from the perspective of Bruce Wayne driving through Metropolis and seeing the Wayne Tower that's in Metropolis that's getting bashed up when Zod and Superman are fighting in the city. Like
that's actually pretty cool.
That was a great scene.
Yeah,
that was a great setup for the movie. It was a good reason to tell why these two were going to be fighting, like to see it from Bruce Wayne's perspective and to understand why Batman would see Superman as a threat. So I thought that was a real big positive.
The beginning was good. I thought that was good.
I really liked Gal Gadot in this.
Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman. I thought that, you know, she didn't have a whole lot of lines, you know, here and there, but the lines that she did have, she kind of built that mysterious character. Yeah. But she did a really good job, I felt like.
Good job too. So some people think she did alright.
Right.
I think she did pretty good. I mean, I don't know what they're expecting either, but
yeah, I mean, I would put it this way: out of everything in a Batman vs Superman movie, Wonder Woman wouldn't be like the top thing on my list, like things that I would look forward to seeing in the movie, you know. And I think that in a way, like Me personally, I think it kind of stole the show a little bit.
Really?
I thought that character, I mean, especially in the fight with Doomsday.
Yeah.
You know, like, you were like, damn, Wonder Woman's pretty badass.
Yeah,
you
she
know?
get knocked around, she didn't even get hurt. She just get right back up, beating the shit out that thing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Me personally, I think the fight scenes in this movie are awesome.
Yeah.
I think they're amazing. Like when Batman fought Superman, and even when they fought Doomsday at the end, I was like, this is exactly why I wanted to go see this movie, because of shit like that. You know what I mean? And I think they really delivered in that aspect.
Oh yeah.
Like, fucking dope, dude.
Absolutely. the one scene that I like too is when Bruce is going through and he's chasing down the truck in the Batmobile.
Yeah, okay.
That was tough. That was so badass when he like skids out and he like goes inside of the ship and then comes like right outside of it. Like the action was really good. I mean, there was a lot of good. Like the thing is like for all these things that we're talking about that are good, it's like, you know, there's a lot of promise to this movie.
Yeah.
Like the vision of the movie, I don't think was a bad vision. I just think that it kind of lost its way in some aspects. You know what I also liked, and this is a huge spoiler, guys, so like if you haven't seen the movie yet, I would say cut it off at this point or fast forward us or whatever. But Superman dying.
Okay.
I think that that's a great, and I said that, like, I might have said that on the video that we did when we did the trailer, or maybe when we were talking about it, when we were coming up with the idea of doing the movie for the trailer. But I thought it would be a great idea to kill off Superman for at least the first Justice League movie.
Really?
And bring him back. Yeah, because the thing is that, you know, there's got to be a reason to care about characters like Wonder Woman, characters like Cyborg, characters like Aquaman, and stuff like that. And I think that having Superman gone, this is kind of going to force that team together a little bit. So I like the idea of killing them off.
I totally get what you're coming from. I kind of felt like it was a little too soon, only because I really, you know, I'm not a big Superman fan, but, you know, I watch the movies, and, you know, the more movies the characters are in, obviously there's more character development, you're going to feel for these characters, but I felt like it was a little too soon. He only had one movie, and then he was a part of the main character in this movie, and then they just kill him off. It's like I don't feel it, you know, because I haven't seen enough of this guy, you know. It's just like, okay, he died. It's like, well, all right, you know what I mean? I feel like, you know, it'll be different if somebody like Iron Man died, because he's been in so many movies now and everybody knows him so well. Yeah, you kill him off, that's pretty big. But Superman is like, all right, well, you know, I don't know too well, but that's how I kind of felt about the death. And even when he died, he was just laying there. He didn't even look dead. He was like nicely pricked up. Like, he just knows he's dead, dude. I thought he was gonna get up, really.
Yeah.
But
well, see, and that's another thing that I liked about it, though, too, is that he actually died fighting Doomsday.
That's
like, I thought that was pretty cool
yeah.
that they made that was, like, they didn't make Doomsday a bitch in this. You know what I mean? Like they could have easily made, like, Doomsday, like, a one-and-done type character in this. Guardians of the Galaxy. Who's the
bad guy?
The bad guy.
Ronan, the accuser.
Ronan. Yeah, like, Ronan's not a one-and-done type of character. You know what I mean? And, like they kind of, like, I felt like they did him kind of bad, the way that they made it, and I was kind of fearful because we'll get to what we didn't like. I didn't like the way that they did. I don't like the way that Doomsday looked. In the way
you didn't like the way he looked.
I didn't like
the way he got created.
Like, I didn't like that, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But the thing about Doomsday, though, is that I like the fact they didn't make him a one-and-done character like Ronan. Like, he came in, and it took 3 of the top tier characters in DC to defeat him, and I thought that was a cool. That was the best way they could have done it.
But how about the way he died, though? Can Doomsday be killed that way?
No, because I don't think that Doomsday is Kryptonian.
See, I don't know.
like that's the thing. I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that he's Kryptonian. I thought that Doomsday was from space, and that he was hunting down other. Like, it was kind of like he was hunting down other creatures. He was Doomsday. He was there to destroy, basically. And when he came to fight Superman, and he met his match with was supposed to meet his match with the Justice League, and then he fought, and then Superman, like, pretty much had to battle him down to try to defeat him. But I don't remember him being Kryptonian. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, but I don't know, because I think what would have been cool is when, you know, when he first appeared in comics, he was like, basically, I think he was like underground, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he like trapped? Because you can't kill him, so you got to somehow maintain him so he doesn't come out. Somehow you got. What it would have been cool if they would have done that with him even now, and like used him as like a battle in the Justice League movie, you know, somehow maintain him. but they just killed him.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
I think that would be pretty cool.
No, you're right about that. I mean, that's the thing. And villains in this movie, I felt like they did a pretty decent job with.
Okay.
You know, Lex Luthor, I was kind of hit or miss on, to be honest with you. I like the fact that they made him like this genius, and they made him so manipulative, and they really kind of did that thing with him. But at some points, I just felt like he kind of overacted. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I'm sitting there watching this, and you know, he's talking about like the stuff he can get. You know, if with this what is he? Some guy that somehow he's talking to, and he's like eating Jolly Ranchers. And then
he puts a Jolly Rancher
in the dude's mouth.
That was dumb.
I'm like, what is? Am I supposed to take him serious? And like the music that's playing at the time, I think the musical score in some of these scenes are just wild, dude. I think they're just weird. But yeah, I was just like, that's such a weird scene. I think he does kind of overreact in some scenes. Man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the scene with him and Lois on the top of the building was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good moment. And, like he pushes her off.
You
know, like that was pretty cool. That whole scene on the helicopter pad was pretty tight, because when Superman comes down and he explains to Superman you know how he had Martha Kent.
Yeah, it feels like a comic book. You know what I mean? The standoff, and he's telling him his plan. He's like, hey, you better hurry up and go do it. You know, it's like, oh my god.
Exactly. Yeah, they hit that on all cylinders, I thought. So I mean, you know, that's a lot of the positives of it. The other thing that I thought was really cool too was that, you know, I was iffy about it when I watched it, and it actually wasn't until like me and you kind of talked about it a little bit afterwards. But you know, I wasn't sure when I watched it how I felt about the way that you see Flash, Cyborg.
Oh yeah, you didn't like the way they introduced him.
Aquaman, like it was weird. It was like one of those things that I wasn't sure like how it was gonna go. But I liked the Cyborg clip. I thought was really dope.
I thought that was kind of creepy
that.
When he was screaming. I thought I was like, this is kind of weird.
Well, when he's talking and you see the cube starting to go, and then you see the cube come back, and then you start seeing like Cyborg being formed. I really liked that. I thought that was probably the best one out of those shoots.
True.
Out of those shoots, the Aquaman one kind of.
He just stands there.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing?
He stood there for a hot minute, like sitting there just staring at the camera, just trying to understand. Like, and it was so awkward too, because like he's sitting there and just staring at you like. and then he hits the trident, like that was kind of dumb. Like I thought that one was dumb. I didn't like the Flash.
Like in what way?
Like in all ways.
Honestly, all
like,
cylinders.
The Flash is like one of my favorite characters. I really enjoy the Flash from DC. You know, I think that he just is one of those characters that's interesting to me, like Spider-Man. You know, like it's kind of the same dynamic. He's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
You know, and he has like these powers, and these powers have now given him abilities to match his wits, basically. You know, I didn't get any of that from this like Flash thing. Basically you see him in some stupid dream sequence.
Oh god.
You know, which was confusing as fuck.
I thought that was so. Like, I thought that was so. To me, it was kind of cringeworthy in the way he's like saying something. I'm like, what's he saying? I'm like, what's going on here, dude?
Yeah, it was incoherent babble. You know, and say you were always right about him. Like, shut the fuck up, you know. But that was stupid. And then seeing him like he's getting like a soda out of the.
You didn't like that at all?
No, I thought that was dumb, dude. In fact, you know what's funny? The WB, or CW, not WB, CW has better graphics for him like running from point A to point B than a fucking Hollywood movie.
Dude,
like, it made no sense.
One thing I don't get is why they didn't connect the TV series with the cinematic universe.
You know, that's a whole nother thing in itself. I don't know why DC just didn't like pull the plug on doing movies after they had hit success with Flash. Yeah. They had Arrow, Flash hit success, and then they had
Supergirl.
Supergirl's doing well. I mean, a lot of people watch it. I'm not really that interested in the Supergirl thing. I mean, they cross over the universes on television, and Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so they did it. They've kind of built this universe. I mean, I think it'd be badass if they had like a Batman show or like a Superman show that wasn't fucking Smallville. You know, like something like that. Like
some dope shit.
Yeah, like
kind of like a Daredevil show.
Right.
But Batman.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it would be real cool if they did that kind of stuff. But it's just like it's weird because, you know, I think I mean, if we're gonna go into it, why don't we go into some of the inconsistencies real quick? Because like I think that this is one of the problems that I have with this whole DC movie universe right now, and specifically in this movie. We're building a universe off of really Man of Steel. You know, I mean, you have Man of Steel, and then you have Batman versus Superman, and in one movie, and I feel like that's kind of where this movie went wrong, is that in one movie, thank God they didn't just say, well, here's Cyborg, here's Flash, here's Aquaman, and throw them all in there, but at the same time, they kind of did. Like, you know what I mean?
They did it in like a unique sort of way.
Right. Yeah, and it's like, you know, it just feels rushed. It doesn't feel like you built this. It feels like you're kind of rushing it in. So now what we're going to be led into is a Wonder Woman movie, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, like you're laying the foundation for Justice League. Like the one thing is like you'll hear like a lot of the like Marvel fans and people that are fans of the Marvel movie universe will say, like over almost 10 years they built that universe.
True.
DC kind of is really building a movie universe in one movie, and it didn't really come across like a strong universe either. It just kind of came across as like, here's Batman, here's Wonder Woman, Superman's dead, but here's some other meta units there, you know?
Yeah, and I think I told you this. When we were talking, I was saying that like, you know, these movies now, like with Batman vs Superman, even Age of Ultron, I feel like they're just so focused on just trying to create the next thing that they lose focus on that movie itself instead of just creating like that one single movie that's so dope. Mm-hmm. It's just they put too much, they cram too much into it, and they kind of rush it, and you kind of like you're left with like, wow, what was that? It was so weird. Instead of like, because I remember when the Marvel Universe kind of started, they didn't start with like Captain America versus Iron Man. You know, obviously they started with Iron Man, which was a good movie. Yeah. You know, they all had their own single movies. Now some of them were mediocre here or there, but you know, that kind of, like you said, laid the foundation, and you kind of knew who the characters were. So then when they did come together, it was already built. Whereas Batman vs Superman is, like you said, they're kind of building off this one movie and they're just throwing everything in there. You know, and it's kind of like, but at the same time, you know, I kind of feel like they're kind of being rushed. Because, you know, Marvel already has the upper hand, and so, you know, they want to get in there and start doing it now before, you know, these movies aren't hot anymore, so it's like, you know, we got to get in there and figure this shit out, and it just came off as, like, a little bit crammed, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, another thing that's kind of strange to me about this, too, is, like, and this is a huge inconsistency for me, is, like, when did all of a sudden Batman decide to start using guns and shooting bad guys? You know what I mean? Like, that was the one thing that kind of threw me off, where it was like, you know, Batman has killed people before in comics. Like, you know, this whole thing that, I don't know where this, like, myth came from that people felt like Batman never killed people. Batman hasn't used guns since, like, the 1940s, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that, and then they kind of wrote that in, that Batman didn't really use guns, you know? Mm-hmm. And that whole thing. But now, out of nowhere, it was like, he just like got on it.
Where did he use guns though? Besides at the end with Doomsday, I know he was holding a gun, but where did he use the gun?
Well, remember when he was shooting out of the Batwing? When he was flying the Batwing over, he was using the guns and shooting those guys.
I personally like Batman better that way. I thought more like, but at the same time, you know, I can understand that Batman, you know, he's conflicted because he doesn't. It's kind of like the whole thing with the Joker. Right. You know, he could end it right there. You know what I mean? But he doesn't want to kill the Joker, obviously, because he doesn't kill. So it's kind of that back and forth where Joker loves the fact that Batman doesn't kill, and Joker's gonna keep doing what he does, but Batman has to, you know, he's not gonna end it, you know. But I kind of see that's awesome. But at the same time, I loved it when he was just shooting down these guys. I thought it was dope, man.
Yeah, I just thought like it would be nice to like kind of like not jump from like, all right, all of a sudden Batman's just like fucking people up with guns, you know? It was kind of weird because you're like,
but you know what, dude? You know what? I was watching it and I didn't even notice it because I'm just so used to these superheroes just doing that anyways, you know? Right. I'm so used to these action movies. I didn't notice it until after people were saying Batman doesn't kill him. Like, hold on, I was like, wait. Oh, he did start killing. I'm just like, Batman's just because that whole fight scene by himself where he comes from the ground and beats the shit out of everybody. I thought that shit was amazing. That was a dope ass fight. Yeah. And he laid it down, dude.
Yeah, he did. He fucked some people up. Really
that was a real good fight. I love that shit.
He crushed people. The other shit, too, that kills me about the movie, as far as inconsistencies go, is that what I hated was that you'd have a scene, and then the very next scene would be like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
That shit was stupid. Like
the Batman joint where he's in the desert?
Yeah.
That shit came out of nowhere.
With the parademons, too?
Like, yeah, I didn't get it. They didn't even explain it. Like, I didn't get it. I was like, why are we here?
Well, and that was what was weird too. It's like you didn't really hear anything like like, I guess that at the end, this is another huge spoiler too, is that at the end of it where Lex Luthor says he's coming, the Dark One is coming, and I'm guessing that he's talking about Darkseid. Well, parademons would be Darkseid, right? And now this is a dream that they don't explain that it's a fucking dream. Like, they just throw in this scene, and it's the scene that everyone saw around like the Super Bowl. You know, the one where they're fighting and the parademons are coming down and catching them, and he comes down and Superman comes down to the hole. But it was like, what the fuck was that? Like that made no sense. It came out of nowhere. It wasn't explained. It was just unnecessary. Honestly.
Same thing with Superman, where he goes up in the mountain and he sees his father.
Yeah,
that was out of nowhere. I was like, wait, Superman's hiking? Did he leave?
Right.
And he's up there, and then the next thing, he's not in the mountain anymore. He's already in the freaking Metropolis. I'm just like, it was random, and I'm like, wait, so, because I'm kind of dumb. I'm like, wait, so did his father not die? Like, you know, I'm like, what?
He had like a full conversation with Kevin Costner in the mountain. I thought the movie changed.
Yeah,
I thought Kevin Costner had a new movie. You know, the other thing that I thought was like kind of just all over the place. I don't even want to say all over the place. This is just the dumbest part of the whole movie for me, right?
Okay.
And it's super inconsistent with anything that we know. Like, we talked about Doomsday earlier. So the way that Doomsday is created in this movie is that Zod's body is taken into the ship that crashes during Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And they drag Zod's body, and for whatever reason, the thing is waterlogged. Like, I don't understand why all this water, and there's like fucking weird ass octopuses like fucking swimming around in there, and all like these tentacles and all this weird ass shit, right? So Lex Luthor goes in there, brings Zod's body in there, and then he cuts the skin off of Zod and puts it on his fingertips and presses his button.
And he becomes like the main guy for the ship. The ship just agrees that he's the main person, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so then he says to the ship, you know, what happened to like the Kryptonian Council, and they said that he was dead. And he said, well, this is, I skipped a part. So basically what happens is Lex Luthor cuts open his hand. How he knows to do this is not explained at all. So he cuts open his hand and starts dripping his blood on Zod's face. Right? And so the thing that he's talking to, this artificial intelligence that he's talking to, says that there's contamination in the water.
Okay.
And says that it's not pure and that the council wouldn't allow it.
Okay.
And so then he says, well, where's the council now? And they said that he's all dead. And then he says, override. And so they cocoon Zod's body. So Zod from Krypton
becomes
with fucking human blood from Lex Luthor in a fucking cocoon creates Doomsday. Like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh my god, dog. I thought that scene was so fucking weird, dude.
It made no sense.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I was with Don 3, and Don's like, why is Lex Luthor crying? And I look at Don, I'm like, dog, I don't even know what the fuck is going on right now, dog, because you're just there. I guess apparently from what I was talking to somebody else that we know, and he told me the reason why he knows how to do that to create Doomsday is because the little machine told him how to do it. I don't know if that's stretching it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, come on, if he don't know how to do it, first of all, who's gonna cut their hand open like this, right? If you just need blood, you can prick your finger and just like prick some of that out, right? But he cuts his hand open, puts that jug over like this, and it starts dripping on his face. And then all of a sudden, because of that, like a cocoon form, like the shit is just dumb.
That's like corny. That's kind of like corny ass like movie shit right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just for it to happen. And the one thing I don't get is what Lex Luthor was trying to do at the end. Okay, so he creates Doomsday to defeat Superman, but Doomsday was like in the first 10 seconds, Doomsday was about to punch him and kill him. Right. But Superman stopped it. So I mean, what was his plan? Like, let's say he did kill Superman. How is Lex Luthor gonna stop Doomsday?
Wouldn't have. Doomsday would have fucked up.
So what's the plan?
It would have been a whole different movie, you know? That's what I'm saying. That was the dumbest. That to me was the whole. To me, that's where they lost it at that point. Like, it was Batman versus Superman. let's throw Doomsday in there, give a stupid creation of Doomsday, and then just throw this movie. Like, they threw the movie away at that point to me.
I think so.
Like, at that point,
I kind of felt it was a little weird at that point too.
Yeah, like at that point it was like, okay, the fight was cool. Like we said that earlier, the fight was cool. It wasn't bad, but at that time I was kind of like, all right, end this. Like this shit has been going on so long now. Just end it.
I know we talked about like you felt like some of these scenes were they're just dumb and they shouldn't even have been there in the first place. And you felt like if they were to cut those out, the movie could have been shorter and probably would have made a lot more sense.
Oh, it would have been awesome. Like if you think about it, they cut Doomsday out of this movie completely. Right? They didn't even have that at all. If they decided not to do all these dumb dream sequences that had no place in the movie, had no point at all, you actually have a linear story at that point. You have a lot of good characters. Hell, when we talked about things that we didn't like, I mean, there's a lot of good characters in this. Like Lawrence Fishburne, I liked his character a lot in this movie. You know,
Jimmy Olsen was the guy that got shot in the very beginning with Lois Lane. And he's the guy with the camera,
right?
You know that's Jimmy Olsen.
That would have been nice to explain that.
No, Jimmy Olsen, dude.
I guess that carried over from Man of Steel. I guess that's why we were supposed to know that's Jimmy Olsen.
Was Jimmy Olsen in Man of Steel?
I don't know. I guess he was. Because otherwise y'all didn't explain that Jimmy Olsen. I had no idea.
That wasn't,
But like honestly, if they had just cut these things out, you know, they could have really condensed the movie. I mean, this is the thing. I went to go see a 5 o'clock movie. The movie started at 5. Like, it wasn't the credits. Like, the movie started at 5 o'clock. The end credits didn't hit until 7:45.
God damn.
And that's in the movie theater. And apparently when this thing gets released on DVD, this shit's gonna be like 3 or 4 hours long. Like I don't want a longer movie. Like, y'all, you gave me the long version as far as I'm concerned.
No lie.
You know?
I agree, dude. So, I guess in the end, dude, what would you give this game? What would you give this, like, in a grade? How do you feel? You feel like you're kind of like in the middle? You think it's good? You think it sucks, but it has some good shit in it?
No, I think at the end of the day, I think that the movie it's okay. You know, I don't think that it's a bad movie. Like, for instance, for critics to say that it's as bad as they say that it wasn't as bad as they said it was. It was long, there was a lot of unnecessary scenes in there, so I get that aspect, which would drop the grade down for me. But if I were to rank this along with superhero movies that aren't like garbage ones, like, you know, like Catwoman's and
Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah, like those kind of stupid movies, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not. Definitely not
not that bad at all. To put it in perspective, for me personally, and now, granted, I don't like Iron Man 3 at all. Like, Iron Man 3 for me is probably the worst Marvel movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 for me is one of those movies that's just alright. It's okay. And that's where I would probably put this movie, Batman vs. Superman. It's not a bad movie, but it's okay. So with that said, I give it a debatable 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Yeah,
very loose one.
A very loose 3.
I agree with you, man. I think with this movie, you know what's funny? When I saw the movie, it actually came out just what I expected. I really did expect to see what I saw, dude.
Right.
Because I just could kind of just tell from the movie and everything that was in it. I really liked the way it looked. It looked awesome. Like, it was beautiful. Like, the production, the actors did really well. Ben Affleck, actually, I think he did really well as Batman.
He did.
You know,
he did.
The guy that played Superman, Henry Cavill, he did really good. Wonder Woman did good. Everybody did good, man. But I personally felt like it just kept jumping a lot, and sometimes I just didn't understand what was going on. And then some of the scenes we talked about, they're kind of like, they could have just cut those out. They didn't explain things. So I agree. I'd give it, you know, if we gave it out of 10, it'd be 6 out of 10. But since we got out of 5, it'd be, you know, we'll give it a 3 out of 5.
Debatable 3 out of 5.
So I mean, would you recommend it? I'd recommend it if you like that. You know, especially if you're fans of the characters. Obviously, I think you love it. You know, and it's entertaining. You know what I mean?
Right. If you're a fan of comic book movies and you haven't hit that comic book movie fatigue that some people have, I'd say watch it. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it from that aspect. If you're expecting something to be
a masterpiece,
like, if you're expecting a masterpiece, go see something else. In fact, you know what? I would put this movie along with Man of Steel. I'd say if you liked Man of Steel, you'll probably like Batman vs. Superman.
I think I agree with that.
If you hated Man of Steel, you probably won't like that, man. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
All right, that's what's up, man. So I guess we'll leave it at that, guys. You heard it from us, System Psycho Josh. If you guys have seen the movie, let us know down below what you guys think of that, and anything that we discussed. If you guys agree, disagree, let us know down below. Once again, like, share, subscribe, follow us on everything. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, all that. So we'll leave all those links down below. If you guys have any suggestions for anything else you want us to review or to watch or anything like that, again, leave it down below. All right, guys, that's it. Peace out.